What is the most awkward thing you've done in a misguided attempt at flirting? Oh man. This one burns to relive. About a year and a half ago, I flew into Montana and drove straight to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, with a good buddy of mine. We started drinking pretty heavily at the rodeo, and decided to eventually saddle up at the $1 Million Cowboy Bar. When we walked in, there was space at the back bar, so we took our positions. Within minutes, we were surrounded by 20 girls from a bachelorette party. Money. Pause for relevant context. I had been up for about 20 hours off of 3 hours of sleep. I don't have cash, and this is an all cash bar. My buddy, now sitting on my left, is very smooth with girls, and I was in the middle of a dry spell. One of the girls comes up and sits down on my right, chatting me up. She's gorgeous, and I'm pumped. After a few minutes, my buddy starts rubbing my leg. I'm a little confused, but figured he was giving me a hint, and start mirroring his behavior by rubbing the girl's leg. After a few more minutes, he starts rubbing more vigorously. I'm thinking to myself, this crap actually works, but nevertheless start rubbing her leg more vigorously. The conversation quickly deteriorates, and she runs off in a hurry to join her friends on the dance floor. I turn to my buddy and he says, "Take the effing 20. What 20? The $20 I'm rubbing on your leg so you can buy her a drink." She came back 5 minutes later wearing a wedding ring. I'm positive she wasn't married, just applying some douche repellent. I once told a girl I liked her brother, by accident. See, what I meant to say was I like your bra, but as I was saying that I thought to myself, oh, I probably shouldn't say that as it would give away that I've been looking through the folds on the front of her button-up shirt to the bra underneath. So bra and O got mixed to form bro, and I said I like your bro. She looked at me funny and said I don't have a brother. You must be thinking of my cousin. He's not gay though. I walked away, wondering what the frick just happened. In high school, when I was 14 or 15, I rode the bus with a girl who had blossomed early. She was from a different group from me and we did some occasional flirting, but chances for actual interaction were rare. While we were standing around waiting for the buses to arrive one day, I noticed that she was wearing jeans shorts cut very short on top of her very long legs. For some reason, I thought it would be hilarious to light the fringe of her jeans shorts on fire with my lighter. Keep in mind, I was guided only by hormones. I thought it would be like a sock fire or something, like whoosh and then out. So when her back was turned, I lit the lighter right under her butt, and of course immediately the frayed cotton of the shorts went right up and showed no indication of going right out. Immediately I recognized that I had made a major error and I commenced slapping at her upper thigh butt area in an attempt to get it out. It did go out, but of course I had run up behind her and apparently begun roughly grabbing at her butt. From her perspective, attempting to smooth it over with I was trying to put out the fire that I had set upon you didn't go over any better, and needless to say I could have gone to jail. She just decided to avoid me, and rightly so. From then on out, TLDR, I set a girl I liked on fire. You got off lucky. There was a story of a guy on here who saw two co-workers sneak into the bathroom together at a Hawaiian themed office party. He snuck into the bathroom after them and lit the grass skirts on fire as a joke. The guy died. Seriously, don't play with fire, what the frick. Was joking around with a girl and made a lightly rude comment, which the girl rightfully took as a joke. She covered her ears and laughingly said, "Oh, my virgin ears." I thought I was being witty when I answered with, "Is your mouth a virgin?" 2. I got slapped. Heck yeah. Me, drunk as heck. Unlike the other guys, I know when to stop drinking. I know when I had enough. She, yeah, me. So, what do? She, I work at Tupperware. I sell Tupperware. Me, oh, really? So are you wearing it now? She, what? Me, Tupperware. She, I still don't get how I could get so drunk that I mistook Tupperware for lingerie. I was at a college party once, and these girls I knew were carrying around these little squirt guns. When the cute one set hers down, I thought I'd flirt a little bit and kind of playfully squirt her with it. It shoots directly into her eye. The squirt gun was full of vodka. For what it's worth, getting vodka in your eye can get you drunk. Coincidentally, I was just sitting in the library reading this thread when a hot girl I had been checking out in the next terminal surprised me by leaning over and asking me what I was giggling about. The fact that I had to somehow explain that I was reading a post about guys failing at flirting, while in the same moment attempting to flirt with her, turned my geeky mind into a Mobius strip. Panic. Anyway, it was pretty awkward. I blew it. Had a girl come in to check in for an appointment at my job not too long ago. I asked her name and she said Chandra. I told her beautiful name. It's also the name of my favorite space-based observatory. I am not even joking. That's unique. I like it. It's a huge step up from my Miriam. Beautiful name. One of my grandma's best friends is named Miriam. Stabbed a girl in the eye with my finger, then elbowed her friend in the face. Was trying to brush the girl's hair off of her face when she turned and I poked her in the eye. Then when I went to put my arm around her to see if she was okay and I elbowed her friend in the face as she leaned in to see if she was okay too. After encouragement, a drunk friend of mine wandered over to a hot chick at a loud party and stumbled into the following exchange. "Hey, my name's Luis. What's your name?" Luis struggling to hear. "Haha, oh wow, your name's Luis too. That's so crazy, I'm really drunk," wanders off. He could have played that off as a lame joke and kept going. The morning after a sleepover in high school, I once sat across an empty room from a girl I liked and stared at her for about 2 hours as she slept, waiting for her to wake up. Thinking back on it, I'm pretty sure she must have woken up at some point and noticed me but was too creeped out terrified to do anything but pretend to be sleeping. I look back on that and wonder what was going through my mind. I was once smitten with a bartender and thought it would be cute to leave him a paper boat made of toilet paper in the bathroom. Upon my return, I said in my sexiest voice, "I left you something in the bathroom." I wanted to slap my forehead as soon as that sentence escaped my mouth. I would love to have seen his face when he walks into the cubicle next to yours to find a massive turdsome pee-up slapper just curled out. Once, a few years ago when I was a waiter, I was at work and saw a female friend whom I hadn't seen in a while walking away from me. I ran up and grabbed her butt. The girl who turned around was not my friend. The risk factor for such a stunt is very high. I said I really appreciate tea instead of I really appreciate it. Thankfully it was only awkward for a second. I got all wide-eyed having realized what I said, but then she started laughing. My buddy once sat nervously at a bar waiting to talk to a very attractive girl. He finally got up the courage to go talk to her, but when he got close to her, he instead punched her in the back and ran away. It remains the saddest male-female interaction I've ever seen. That would have been a legitimate flirtatious act in the 4th grade. Dude is just a little behind on the times is all. I was pretty innocent at 16 and was flirting with a guy on my swim team. For some reason he was wagging his finger in my face, so I snatched it and moved it towards my face. I dunno. I think I was pretending to bite it, just being feisty. He had this intense look on his face, and as I moved the finger to my mouth I suddenly realized, horrified, what it actually looked like. I dropped his hand and ran out of the room. We didn't talk for months. I was so embarrassed I didn't even want to see him. He had this intense look on his face. Yes, a boner while wearing swim trunks is something I would try to avoid, too. I looked up opening lines on the internet because the last 20 times I started with "Hi, my name is," I was blown off. I approached a stunning blonde with the line. She immediately engaged, but a few seconds later was like, "Wait a minute, are you one of those pickup artist guys that go on the internet to learn how to talk to girls?" After that it was awkward city. Another time I saw this cute girl by herself in a bar. I walked up to her and asked her if she was all by herself. She ran away. In retrospect that must have been scary for her considering I was twice her height, and that line was probably not the best choice. Not me, but someone I know told a girl he really liked that he was going to rape her in a sexy voice, with the intention of seducing her. I don't know how he defines flirting, but I'm pretty sure that doesn't qualify. Not myself, but I once had a friend who snuck away from everyone after a night out and wandered down the street masturbating under the concept that a girl would see it and think I want a piece of that. Universe, look upon me, an unashamed sexual being. Drunk in Madrid, I tried to show off my awesomeness by jumping over a rail. I came up short, smashed my tailbone on it, and proceeded to cry like a bee because the pain was unbearable. Did kind of the same thing. Drunk, and we were jumping a fence to go into some hot springs. Started to jump the fence and landed right on my nuts. I too cried like a bee. The fence was 6 feet tall. I'm once removed. Both are my cousins. My cousin was a really liked, popular rugby team captain type in grade 11. New day of school. Hottie new girl starts school in his class. He sits next to her, starts chatting it up, sitting closer, flirting. She reciprocated, batting eyelids, etc. Flirty smiles. Starts talking about the weekend, making plans. She lets him know she has to visit her grandma for some family function. Funny that, so does he. Wait, what is your dad's name? OMG. Slunks back. Shy smile. So how is uncle doing? Anyhow, second cousins FTL. Edited, captain and clarification. So does he, is the family function. I think it was a yearly gathering, not the grandmother. Exactly why I don't talk about family with girls. I was playing frisbee with a group of people. I threw it at this really cute girl, who, I swear, was looking at me when I threw it. She turned around as it was still in flight. Someone called her name and she turned just in time to have this frisbee hit right between the eyes. It nearly knocked her out. Definitely knocked to the ground. I spent the next 2 hours apologizing. She got a beautiful set of raccoon eyes from that hit. Bam. Haha. I've had a few frisbee mishaps. Once I backhanded a girl full force during an ultimate frisbee game. She jumped in front of me as I went to huck the disc about 40-50 yards. I caught her square in the side of the face with the back of my hand. After the point, people who didn't see the incident asked what happened. I responded with, she was in my way, so I backhanded her. Related. My first day at a new high school, I was outside on the quad asking a girl for directions. The next thing I know, I feel a powerful slap on the butt and hear, "Hey Brad." I turned around to see a very attractive girl recoil in horror, exclaiming, "You're not Brad." Looking her in the eye, I calmly replied, "No, but you can call me Brad if it makes you happy." That's pretty smooth on your part. I got to hang out with this really hot chick, and I ended up talking to her brother about video games. I was not prepared. My friend got a cute girl as his roommate, and I was thinking about talking her up, even after hearing that she had a boyfriend. When the guy came over to hang out with her, he and I talked about video games. It was on that day I decided not to be a dong. I stroked a girl's arm once, for like 15 minutes, while we were sitting in her car. Even now I look back on that and I'm like, WTF, that's so creepy. Your story is better by far. That's straight up supervillain creepy. Long story short, I jokingly told some girl I was flirting with that she looked like a chipmunk, and it did not go over well at all. Who knew? So in high school I played tennis. A cute girl came up to me and asked, "Hey, are you single?" And, not thinking, I replied, "No, I play doubles." While on a ride in Disney World back in middle school, I turned to the girl sitting beside me, a classmate that I had been joking with most of the ride, and put my hands up making woo ghost noises. It was the dark part of that "it's a small world after all" ride. Anyway, I poked her in the eye and knocked out her contact. She had to go back to the hotel to get her glasses. One time, I gave a girl some zip ties. Another time, I fixed a girl's vacuum cleaner. Another time, I touched the legs of every girl at a party. Another time, I was talking to a girl who snorted when laughing and made a reference to this fact in an attempt to tease her, but it was completely out of context and thus awkward. Another time, in 8th grade, I remembered a girl's phone number and address from the school directory, and then shared this fact with her. Another time, I had a prolonged email exchange with a girl about some National Instruments DA boards that neither of us were particularly interested in. I did not get any those times, or any other time. At this rate you will soon have an extensive list of what not to do ever again. Glass half full. I experienced the following event with some friends. We were in a bar. It was late and we were pretty drunk. I knew one of my friends had a thing for one of my female friends. Then someone touched my leg and caressed it for a moment until I said, I know both of you are a little frisky and pretty drunk. I'm not gonna complain, but you should know. One of you is touching my leg. Saying that and thinking it was the female friend, the male friend shouted, oh, frick sorry. I still mocking him with it. P.S. I'm male. 2. Number 1. Chatting up a girl and found out she worked opposite my house at an old people's home. Had some juicy gossip from a friend who worked there also, so asked, do you know the silly bugger who tried to kill herself last week? The reply, it was me actually. Sometimes there is nothing you can do or say to make things better. I apologized and walked away. Also, showing off to a group of girls, vaulted over a fence, slipped, and smashed my kneecap. I am still patella-let in my left leg. After a movie, my date and I went next door to the bookstore. For some reason, we ended up holding hands through the self-help section. I noticed a self-help book on sexual positions or something like that, and I jokingly told her that we should pick it up. She seemed cool and blew it off, but she was distant the rest of the night. I found out later from my friend, who was her co-worker and the one that hooked us up, that she didn't want to move that fast and lost interest in me. Then I found out that she had fricked around with 2 of her co-workers prior to going on a date with me. She fricked one of them and blew another guy as a going away present before he transferred to a different state. Made me feel pretty crappy. Most awkward thing I've seen a friend do was he was really into this girl, got drunk, went to talk to her at a party at her house. Well, he saw her through door and just started talking and walking to her, right through the plate glass door. The prettiest girl I ever knew was into me. She moved away for college and me and my friends planned a trip to the city she was staying in, and I told her we could meet up at some point. It was the afternoon, and we weren't going to meet up until that night. So my friends and I went to a park and started to drink a few beers. A few beers turned into a bottle of whiskey, and then some guy sold us a bunch of ecstasy. By the time we got to her house I was real messed up. I knew I was acting weird too, and I tried to stop, but I think that made me act more weird. I ended up passing out on her couch and I woke up at 3 in the morning covered in my pee. I snuck out and took a taxi back to the place I was staying at. We used to talk a lot, but we don't anymore. Hanging with a friend, a few girls in a park. The topic turns to how many me and my friend are. I said that I can't take any kind of pain and not even flinch. The one girl calls me on it and starts things, flicking my ear, pinching me, etc. After about 10 things she says, I bet I can burn you with my cigarette and it will hurt you. I say go for it, so she does. She put her cigarette out on my arm. Hurt like a bee, but she was cute so I never flinched. She was impressed, so we talked a bit more by ourselves at a picnic table. We are getting ready to go and I stand up, turn around to fast and smack my knee on the table and collapse. She looked at me and said, well, you had me up until that. I still have the scar on my arm after 15 years. Dude, if you hit your knee in just the right place it hurts like a bee. It's like you connect with a nerve or something. There was a super cute girl in some humanities class I had a year or 2 ago. I go to an engineering school, so not only do I not normally take humanities classes, there are also not normally super cute girls. And the most that would happen between was that we would smile politely at each other upon one or the other entering the room. One day I was going towards class with a slice of pizza in my hand, eating as I went. I passed her going the other way and she waved and said hi. I waved back and answered PFFFGH. This was because of the mouthful of pizza I was sporting. Chipmunk getting ready to hibernate style. Some crust fell out too, just to make completely certain I would never speak to her again. Drunk in a bar, I saw this beautiful girl checking me out, so instead of going there and introducing myself, I put a small cucumber in my mouth, and while half of it was hanging out of it, I yanked it up and down like a penis as I was approaching her. My cunning plan was that she would try to catch it with her mouth and we'd end up kissing. Guess what happened? At a party in college, drunk guy walks up to girl sitting down and starts dancing on her. Girl, get off me. Guy takes his shirt off. Girl, what are you doing? Guy, I thought you said, get awesome. That was awesome. I've had some awkward ones, but I have one that happened to me recently. It's more the other person than me. I was riding my bike to the store to get some ice. They have 5-10 pounds of ice bags and I like to chew ice when I work. I am carrying the ice in one hand while riding my bike. A girl, looking about college age, very nice looking, waves at me, thinking I knew this girl, probably in high school. I waved back. Then I noticed it wasn't anyone I knew, stupid me. By then, though, I had stopped on the bike. You usually carry that much ice here. It helps with the work I do. I have school and work, so it helps me concentrate. Me, you live around here? Yeah, points in general direction. Right there on cross streets. Me, you have roommates here? Well, I guess my wife is my roommate. Me, I swear I didn't know that a girl that dark could blush that red. It then dawned on me what was happening. I've never been hit on by a girl before, so it was weird to say the least. OHH. Nice meeting you. Me, waits for a few seconds. Yeah, sorry her. I rode off. I didn't know how to handle the situation. Now that I look back on it, I probably should have said something to soften the blow or something, but it was so weird, I didn't have time to think. It did make my day though. I told my wife later that day and she just laughed. TLD, a girl tried to hit on a married man. Weirdness ensues. Wife laughed. 6th grade dance, and I didn't know this girl beyond knowing I wanted to get to know her. I'd seen her around school but no classes together. I go up to her and say, "Why aren't you dancing with anyone?" She smiled at me. "No one has asked me to dance yet," I replied. "Well, I happen to know someone who wants to dance with you." She smiles bigger. "Oh really? Who?" I freeze. A friend of mine. Let me go get him." Yeah, I went to this guy I knew and told him, "Dude." I froze. "Here's $5, just dance with her. I can't face her." So he takes the $5, walks into the gym, and I point her out. He knows her. It was his sister. I was once in the gym at my high school, as in the weightlifting part. Frick, I'm awkward already. One of the hottest girls in school, older than me by a few years, isn't there. I take off my shoes. Policy. Silly policy. It will hurt more if you drop the weights and move another pair of shoes a little bit to do so. Hot girl says, "Hey, don't touch my shoes," with a big smile. I am slightly taken aback, then recognize the flirting and say, "I will take a crap in your shoes." End of story. Notice I said I was once in the gym. I met a girl on a holiday and was totally trying it on with her when I got stung by a jellyfish. It was quite embarrassing just how much pain I was in and showing it. However, when she crouched and pee all over my back, the embarrassment kinda lifted. Later that evening scored. Dear Penthouse, that day I learned I love water sports. I once had a chick compliment my eyelashes in class. Something along the line of, "Wow, you have really pretty eyes and long eyelashes." I proceeded to reach up and touch my eyelashes while mumbling something like, "Oh, these things," and in a nervous twitch, my fingers pinched together and I inadvertently pulled a huge chunk of eyelashes right out of my eyelid. She stared in horror as I did the only thing I could think of. I blew a puff of air at them and let them go, causing them to sprinkle to the ground like dandelion fluff. She never spoke to me again, and I don't blame her. 3 summers ago I was sitting in an airport terminal, ready to fly to Arizona to visit some relatives. As I sat reading someone else's newspaper and drinking overpriced coffee, I looked up and saw a beautiful girl, about my age, sit down across from me. Something about her made me want to talk to her. I smiled at her. She was reading. She didn't see me. I decided to try a distraction. I coughed, and she glanced up. "Sorry, hi, excuse me," I mumbled. "Hi, what's that you're reading?" She smiled, and went back to her book. Oh well, I guess she's not interested, I thought to myself. Eventually, the call to board was made, and I quickly grabbed my bag and got on the plane. I settled into my seat, disappointed in having missed my chance at having a nice conversation to pass the time, settling instead for the daily Sudoku puzzle. Much to my surprise, the girl from before approached my row and sat down next to me. Fate, it seems, has given me a second chance. "Hello again," I tried. Once again, she smiled at me and returned to her book. At least this time she seemed a little bit interested in paying attention to me. Desperately, I tried to string together some kind of conversation starter as the plane took off. So what brings you to Arizona again with the smile? But still nothing. I was beginning to wonder if she was mute. All throughout the plane ride, I'd attempt to start a conversation. She'd smile and go back to her book, and I'd sit in awkward silence for a few more minutes. After an hour or so, the plane landed. As she was walking down loading bridge, I caught up with her and went for the gold. Okay, listen, I'm normally not this upfront, but every time I try to talk to you, you smile at me. Would you like to grab some dinner before you go wherever it is you're going? She smiles one last time and says to me, Lo siento, pero no hablo inglés. Adios. I wish I had paid attention in Spanish class. So this really cute girl sat right next to me in class for a whole semester. There was a constant looking at each other with a really big smile in a willing but shy way by the both of us. All semester I sat there like a pea afraid to talk. I never even missed a day in class just to see her. A personal record. I remember her asking her for a pen once but she only had one. So she gave it to me and asked her friend for another one. Bottom line, I liked her and she liked me. So what did I do? I waited till the semester was over, then found her on Facebook and messaged her. She replied once then deleted her profile. Yay, that was awkward. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.